Hey Tool Nuts, I'm Doug with toolnut.com, and this is David.
David.
David, not Dave.
Not Dave. David.
David. Today we're going to be going over the new MILWAUKEE M12 FUEL 3-inch random orbital detail sander.
That's a mouthful, Doug. What do we got? What are we looking at here? What are
One take.
What are the key features? What are we looking at? So first of all, people looking at this is another sander. This is 3-inch. What's the main purpose for this? Why you have this over a 5-inch or a 6-inch?
Spot removal, detail sanding. So you're not going to be using this on like a huge surface. You know, can you? Yeah, you can. But you know, with this small of a pad, you know, you're going to have a lot of movement there. That's where on like edges, railings on staircases, stair treads, cabinet doors, door frames, molding, anything small like that.
So maybe
spot removal.
So spot removal,
That's
cleaning up something, old chipped paint. You want to hit a small area, perhaps a panel on a door, but you're not going to be doing something like this with a 3-inch. You're going to grab
I wouldn't recommend it. You want something larger, so it'll take you forever too. You know, especially depending on what you're trying to remove material off of it, or like a poly or paint or something. You know, it's going to take longer on a surface like that. You would want to go to probably like a 6-inch belt sander or something like that. So that, you know.
So small stock or surface removal.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So the other big point on this is you're getting over 80% dust collection, which is huge. You know, dust collection is a big thing these days with all brands. And with this, they're giving you, so let's get into it. We'll pivot off that. So what comes with the tool? So you're going to get the dust bag with it. You're also going to get this step adapter here, which is a quick connect also. It's 3 sizes, which is really cool. So it fits most hoses that are on the market. It doesn't have to be MILWAUKEE hose. So you got one hose will fit inside, another will go on the outside, and the other one will be there. There are sizes on the website, by the way, of what sizes those are.
But that's key what you just said. So this is brand agnostic. You can use pretty much any dust collection vacuum that you have.
Correct.
Wet, dry vac. This is going to fit probably almost all of them in the industry. They're common sizes.
Exactly. They're giving you the 3 most common sizes in the market, plus a dust bag with it.
I will say this real quick, just to add this. Whenever possible, I would use a vacuum over the dust collection bag. It's much more efficient. I think the 80% is considered with the bag, but you're going to be getting
with the vacuum. It's
even higher.
Way more than that. So,
okay, great.
And it keeps the pad cool too. That's what people don't realize. As the airflow is getting pulled through the tool, it keeps this cooler, less because you have all this friction going on. So you won't wear out the pad as quick. This is plastic, it's Velcro, but eventually, especially if you're pushing on it as well, but it's also from heat that really wears out these pads, which we'll get into something else that you can do to help with that. So you're getting the holster, which is really cool. So you can put it on your belt, pocket. There's also like a little keyhole here, so you can put it on a nail or a screw, hang it on a wall or in the shop. So that's pretty cool, I like that.
Nice. Yep.
I haven't seen that really from any other brand that we deal with. Sandpaper, they went with a net paper, which is cool. Kind of looks like a screen. They call it net. Again, it's Velcro, hook and loop.
And that's also great for airflow. Not to interrupt, that's great for airflow. That also helps keep the pad cooler. When you went back to earlier on, when we see a lot of sanders, like most of us use sanders, this starts to melt and fray. And when that happens, the paper actually starts to fly off. It doesn't want to stay on there as much. And that's because you have heat buildup here. So what Doug was talking about earlier on, the more that you can get airflow, it keeps this from having to be replaced and melting. And those pads facilitate that.
The other thing that helps too is that you don't have to worry about trying to line up the holes.
Yeah.
You can just put it right on. You're not having to try to line up the holes perfectly to get that dust collection from the tool. So you got some screen paper. You get some with it. A variety of that comes with the tool. You get a pad protector, and then you get this it's like a sponge, so it helps with the contours and whatnot, so you're not gouging into your material with that. So you're getting this as well, which is really cool. I like that they give you all this with the tool. Now, that's important as well. We have it here with the battery because we're going to turn it on here in a minute. This is only being sold by MILWAUKEE on our site as a bare tool. So it doesn't come with a battery, doesn't come with a charger. You'd already have to have the batteries and charger for your platform.
So they're assuming you're already into the platform,
right,
you're already into the 12-volt system.
But I mean, out of box, when I first opened this, super compact, lightweight, and that's their third big key point on this tool is how easy it is to maneuver it, get it into tight spaces.
Oh, I love the balance on it.
It's just really, really well. and I'm excited to have it, and it's already doing well on the site. We're not going to go into all the specs here either. For specs, full specs, details, availability, and pricing, you're going to want to head over to toolnet.com. So real quick, we'll just go around the tool, and then we're going to show it in use here. So as usual, you have your fuel gauge on the majority of the tools. You're going to have that when you pull the trigger. You have a variable speed trigger here as well, with a trigger lock, so you can lock it out there. Okay, you can see the LED light is already on here. You can turn that on and off, which is really cool to light up, you know, if you're inside a cabinet, somewhere where it's darker. You know, I thought that was really smart to do that with that. And then of course you have your different speed changes here that you can just cycle through. And then you also still have control in the trigger as well. So 3-inch pad, this is going to be available to buy separately as well. So pad protector, this is huge because of the net paper. When you put that on there, if you were to use this and keep using and pressing on it, eventually some of the hook and loop on this pad, they might go through the net and get worn out. So that'll wear this out a lot faster. So with net paper, you always want to use this pad protector, and these are sold separately as well on the site, as well as this sponge pad, I'm going to call it. And then you just put this on. This is one where you're going to want to kind of line up all the holes here, get them lined up so that your dust works on that.
So the idea here, Doug, is this is disposable so it doesn't wear out your pad.
Right. Okay. So if this starts becoming where it's not sticking well and the pad's coming off easier, you're going to want to throw this piece out and just replace it. Again, you will be able to buy the pad separately as well. The backer pad is going to be on the website for sale as well. And then of course, all different, you can get the grits of paper and individual grits, so like a 60 grit by itself, an 80 grit, and different size packages. Then they also have a variety pack, and they give you a pretty good mix here as far as, you know, their branded, you know, paper goes. So could you use someone else's? Absolutely, as long as it's 3-inch.
Yeah, sure.
It's hook and loop. If it's not net style, you'd want to hopefully have it so that the holes match up. If not, you want to go with the net so that it works. But yeah, you want to give it a go? You want to be the first?
Yeah, sure.
So,
you know, you mentioned something earlier on, and a lot of people say, I remember when lights first came out in the industry with cordless tools, and everyone said that's such a gimmick. It's not, and I'll tell you why it's not a gimmick. Is because a lot of times when you're working, whether you're working in a finished kitchen or an area where, you know, you have plenty of light, usually you're working with drop lights or something where you need to see. Well, many times that lighting is behind you. You can't always have it with the lighting in front of you. When it is, it's blinding you. So when you have a light that's being thrown, even when you have light in the area, you're casting your own shadow over it. So having this in the front allows you, there you go, allows you to be able to see what you're working on, so your own shadow doesn't block you from looking at the stock you're working with. So I love that feature. When I first saw that, I said, man, we really should talk about that, because that's legit. It becomes a real pain when you're trying to do something and your own shadow is blocking you, and you have this huge light source behind you or around you that you're saying, well, why can't I see what I'm doing? So anyway, yeah, we're just going to go through here. We've got some lines on here, and we're using the mesh, so let's give it a try. Now with all these, the key, and you get a feel for it because everyone has its own weight, is
trying to keep it flat.
Keeping it flat, right, exactly.
But again, that's where this pad's going to really come into play. You know, if you don't want to gouge it, you know, some materials you don't have to remove that much, or especially if you want to round a corner, that's where this pad comes into play. And
I got to tell you, Doug, that feels good. And that lag you're hearing is not because I'm bogging it down. It's because I'm coming on and off it just to get a feel for the different power it has.
You can see too, as you're using that, I mean, there's not much left here on the material. So even with just the dust bag alone, that's great. There's nothing airborne that I can see here because it's kind of darker around us with the lights that we have here for the video. I didn't see anything airborne, you know. So, and then on the side here too as well. I mean, that is phenomenal. You know, a lot of other brands, you know,
that's not good for getting everything thrown up in your face.
With a dust bag, you're still getting it. You can see it going up in the air. So that right there. You know,
years ago, we'd take this bag and throw it out.
They nailed it, right.
But this is a pretty good system, how they got that figured out.
Yep. So
I like it.
I think that's it. So again, for the full specs, details, pricing, and availability, you're going to want to head over to toolnut.com.